Hello, welcome to Throwdown Thursday for another week. A little bit later today because Steve is crook as a dog and needed to go and get the plague summoned out of him by the witch doctor. So, Steve, we know you're a bit crook, but aside from that, how are you, mate?
Nah, feeling all right. Feeling all right. Big week for SuperCoach. Yeah, just had to grab a couple of scripts. So got 2 bottles of water with me, a Rockby Farm drink for my coffee, and I've got a multivitamin drink right here. So I'll get through this. I've handed hosting duties over to Damo for today because probably the less talking, the better. I am planning to go to work tomorrow, so um, hopefully I can get the best out of. Hopefully I can just get another good sleep and I'll be good to go. But yeah, feeling good. How are you going, Damo?
I'm doing all right. I look a lot more tired than I am, but on your day off, you don't really have to make yourself look pretty. So it's all right. It's
Yeah,
okay.
we're radio heads for a reason.
Exactly right. All right, round two is in the books. A lot of people, a lot happier with their teams after round two. Some people still looking to make some trades, make some corrections. But I mean, I had a lot better week than round one. So after round one, I thought my team was a complete dumpster fire. After round two, I think it's probably in a better spot now, and I've made some corrections, brought in all the right rookies and all that, and hopefully and hopefully it's only up from here. But how about yourself? How about yourself, Steve? What was round two like for you?
Um, yeah, obviously not as good as I would have liked. Yeah, a lot different contrast to round one. Unfortunately, scored an 1853, which is probably 100 points off what you want to get for that type of round. But yeah, just few primos underperforming certain situations with the number two ruck that I've got in the team. Yeah, so not ideal. I think I went down 13,000 spots and I'm now 26,000. So it's not ideal, but being um, being 26k is probably best when it's round two. So we'll fire back. We're in for the long run. It's a marathon, not a sprint. You just got to plan your team for the long run here before prices change for the majority of teams here.
Yeah, so I ended up scoring 1971, which I thought was under, but looking around, it looks like that was actually about par for the
Yeah.
round, or a little bit above what par was. So I shot up the rankings. I pretty much halved where I was after round one, which was not in a good spot. I won't reveal. Um, but now I feel like my team is in a place where I can move up continually now, and hopefully once like we get out of these best 18 weeks, it's going to be a decent season. So yeah, it just shows that you shouldn't overreact after round one, and just continually manage your team the way that you know how, and then continue going from there. Team selection last week threw up a few spanners. The main one on Thursday night being that Bailey Williams was named in the extended squad for West Coast. And then on Friday, it was made even worse that Flynn was then omitted. We talked about Matthew Flynn at length last week, and there was a debate about R2 versus Flex. And the people who had him in the flex were at a significant advantage when he was not named, because they were able to move him fairly quickly if they wanted to whoever they wanted. And the people in R2 had to hold, wait and see, and then assess once the round was over. Steve, I know you're trying not to talk as much this week, but talk us through how you managed the Matthew Flynn situation.
Yeah, so I would like to give a formal apology for my comments last week. Trying to make an attempt at a victory lap ended in disaster, and I felt like Flynn wouldn't have got dropped if I didn't go on that spiel last week. So I do very much apologise. to all fellow Flynn Tours out there, felt like I did jinx the pick right there. But look, I guess part of the reason, if worst case scenario happened, was that it was best 18. We can just reassess and see what's going on. Obviously, people at Flex had a much better choice to trade him out at Art, to trade him out heading into round 2. So, look, I'd like to formally apologise for any Flynn Tours out there. I jinxed him. Attempted a victory lap, gone to disgrace. So I do very much apologise. But best 18. I think a couple of us Flynn Tours have got a couple of targets on our radar now after a couple of situations happened in round 0 and also in round 2 where, they could look at a potential Max Scorn addition, maybe heading into round 4 or 5. Or even this week, but he's about to plummet in price. And then also Kieran Briggs, if that tickles your fancy, he might be able to get down to about 450k with his unfortunate concussion. So there is some get out plans for Flynn Tours, but the absolute worst case scenario has happened, and I think I led the charge for it, so I do apologise. I hope that can be accepted for the SuperCoach gods.
And scary quotes from Andrew McQualter during the week. He said that he's going to hold a ruck competition at training every week, and whoever wins that competition leads the ruck that round. So it could be Flynn, it could be Williams, it could be Cohen Livingston for all we know. Hell, they even used Ruben Jinby in the ruck last week, so it could be him leading the ruck one week, which is a scary thought for everyone involved.
That's actually probably a good thing, if anything, because if they go off performance, Bailey Williams was a lot better than what Matty Flynn was in round 1. And if they're going off AFL performances, Bailey Williams shouldn't have anything to worry about. Just got a bit of cramp towards the end of the game. So I don't know. That might be a good sign for Flynn if they're doing it that way instead of week by week performances in the AFL. But I think West Coast are probably need to have a look at a Darcy Cameron of the world or something over the trade period, because none of what they've got are the answer. So if Tom
De Koning does accept that monster offer, as reported from St Kilda, then maybe West Coast throw some money at Rowan Marshall.
You never know. I mean, Marshall's in the prime of his career. Obviously had a bit of a rough round 1, but we know how talented of a ruck he is. Probably the best in the best ruck in the game of just getting clearances, in my opinion. And he's just fantastic at that. Probably due to not having that much of a midfield around him, but that's all right. So that's like, I think what also hurt with Flynn too was the Harry Boyd getting dropped. So the 1 week experiment just giving us another punch in the face. So a very interesting trade period coming up for the Eagles. I think they've got a couple of things to talk about.
So there's a few players on the hot seat, few poor performances in the gun that they really need to turn themselves around very soon, or they will find themselves on the outer for a lot of people. I guess the headline act there is Jason Horne-Francis is one of them, with only a 61 and a 72 average over the first 2 weeks. I thought he would have a much better game against Richmond. It looks like they anticipated a tag that never came, and he played most of the game forward, gave away a lot of free kicks. His score could have been a lot better, but I think he's got a chance with Butters out for another 6 weeks to, improve. And I've got no doubts that he's going to be one of the top forwards by the end of the year. So the question is, do you trade him out now and then pick him up again later and use 2 trades on the one player, or do you just hold him? Because even though he's not scoring up to his price point, he is probably going to be one of the top forwards, and he's probably going to score a lot better than the the forward rookies that you could potentially short him to now?
Well, yes, Horne-Francis. I mean, I didn't see much of the game, but whenever I saw him, he was forward, so that's never great. But I don't know, was it a way to manage him? Bit weird for round 2, but just did not live up to the expectation that we were hoping for that game. Scored a 61, and I would personally look to hold. But if you're in a really good position and Horne-Francis is one of your main concerns, then you could probably go for it. But I'd probably prioritize rookie corrections. We picked him for a reason. If you haven't got Rankin, that's a very tempting swap because Rankin just looks leaps and bounds better than Horne-Francis at this stage, but we know that can change. So, yeah, look, I would look to hold Horne-Francis. We picked him for a reason. We saw the preseason research. Sometimes you just got to back that in, but at the same time, if you don't have many bigger issues, then you can go for it.
Another player in a lot of teams at the moment who's in the gun, Harry Sheezel.
Yes.
He's only scored, he scored a 106 in round 1, but the 81 in round 2 has got people a little bit antsy about his role. He looks like he has the role that he had in the preseason. He's just not getting enough of the ball or much of the ball as he was. Again, I think he's a hold, but where do you sit on Harry Sheezel?
Well, he was in the hot seat for me last week, if you remember, Damo, and I told him to fire up. Melbourne's a good matchup for him, and he didn't fire up. And I'm like, gee, maybe I need to give better sprays in future. But look, 81. It's like low 50s centre bounces, attendances for Sheezel, so it's not ideal. I really wanted to fade him, but just didn't have the cojones to do so. But that's all right. I'm not a fortune teller. I thought he would have gone a lot better than how he started. But I would probably hold and just back him in. I think it's more I guess the defender primos are starting to pop up now. I think part of the reason was picking Sheezel as one because of the crowd, 68% ownership, and then also the just what it felt like in the preseason, just some lack of defensive options. We're leaning more towards the mid 400k guys like Roberts, Short, Perryman. But I'd back him in. If you want to take a huge risk and bet against him, then go for it. It's probably moves that you make to try to win it all, and it could pay off. So I'm going to hold, but I'm not going to cut sick at anyone that gets rid.
Max Gawn only put up a 67 on the weekend. Simon Goodwin's comments suggest there was something else happening there, but there are people now looking at his price at 668k and wondering whether that money can be better used elsewhere, and perhaps you split him, upgrade Flynn, and then use the rest of the cash to fix elsewhere. That is something that a lot of people are looking at, or a few people are looking at. I think Max Gawn will rebound, but given where he is at his price point, that is a lot of cash to invest in a guy that's probably going to lose a lot of money from here until he reaches his floor. What are your thoughts on people using that cash to move him on now? And then I hate people when they trade out players and then bring them back in, but in this situation, maybe it makes a bit of sense with the way the season has started.
Because I know some people are looking for a round 1 captain. I think part of the reason people picked Gawn in round 1 was because he had that Lockie Keith matchup and scored a 129, where I think, which was fine. Probably people were thinking maybe 150 plus, but a captain score's a captain score. But now he goes 67. He just lowered his colours. We know how good of a player he is. Do you swap to Cherry? That's the interesting thing. But I think it's similar to Horn Francis and the Sheasel debate. If you've got bigger issues, then you correct them first. You pick these players for a reason. We know Gawn's going to bounce back. He's the captain of the Melbourne Football Club. He's got a lot of pride in his game, so I think he does bounce back, but just be prepared for a bit of a price drop, and he'll probably get down to low 600s would be my expectation. I think he's got Sam DeConning or Reece Stanley round 4 and could put up a monster against those two. So if you just have a bit of patience, stick with him.
Tom Stewart ended with an injury-affected 9 on the weekend. He is a test to play this week, but if he doesn't play, probably only missing 1 week. At 521k in best 18, is this a guy that you hold and just wait for? Obviously, non-owners will benefit from him scoring that 9 and him dropping in price significantly over the next few weeks. But do people who currently own him, should they be looking to move him on? And they will probably be feeling a bit of FOMO because they won't have this great bargain in a few weeks to select. But given that he scored a 9, what do you say to owners? I've seen some people moving him on, but I've also seen some people really staunch in wanting to hold him as well.
If he plays this week, I think he hold. I think you just accept it and just hope he looks back to somewhat normal. I mean, I think PCLs are usually a couple of weeks on the sidelines, so I think it's pretty exciting for owners if he's not missing any games here. But obviously the break-even's a concern. Very unlucky. I mean, I don't think you can. I know some people are a bit disappointed about Stewart, but I don't think there's much you can do. Like, injuries happen. It's just very unlucky. Poor Tom Stewart seems to get an early season injury every year, unfortunately. But if he plays this week, I'd hold. Bit of thinking music if he misses this week, but probably back the following week. I think I'll hold. It sounds like he's only I think the maximum amount of time from what it sounds like will be this week. So I'd probably just hold.
All right. Let's get to a few of these questions and comments.
Yes, we've got a few here. I'll pop them up here. All right. Morning, Rookie Coach. Morning, Crazy Frogs. Thank you guys so much for jumping on. SuperCoach Pro. Morning, lads. Ranked 1,220. Yes, Brad is off to a good start.
Awesome start.
Great to see him. Feeling good. Going to use trades for some gun rookies I missed. Nod, Ashcroft and Henderson for Dolan, Finn O'Sullivan and Sardis. Ranked, 1,220. And finally off to a good start. Yeah, shout out to Brad. I feel like he's had some really bad luck to start the season most years. So good to see him off to a flyer. So I think he went Dolan as a pod forward rookie. Didn't pan out. But yeah, Nathan O'Driscoll, Ashcroft, Henderson, they're perfectly fine trades in. I think the priority is just getting some of these good rookies in.
Yeah. Just make sure that you got the right cash generation pieces in place and then some nice premiums to sort of back your team up and off you go. Perfect.
Yep, you're good to roll. Lethal Leadham. G'day, lads. Briggs will be great scoring value once his price bottoms out. Could be a nice flex upgrade. I don't think he'll be much for cash cow. Nah, he doesn't need to be a cash cow. We just know he's a number one ruck on a side every week. So I think he's a really good flex option in a couple of weeks if people want to go there. We know he's not going to be top of the line, but we know he's going to be a solo ruck on a side, which usually means 85 plus. So he's a fantastic flex option. JHF is a hold for me. MCB me. We're only 2 rounds in. Yep, that's fair enough. I don't see any dramas there. That's fine. Yeah, this is a good point by Corey, and I didn't bring it up, but I wonder if that was part of the reason too, due to Lukosius being subbed.
I would assume that it's why he spent more time forward than we probably would have liked. But he started there. That's the only thing that I would say. It appeared that he started there. So I don't know if he was going to be rotated in and Lukosius going down stopped that rotation, or if the plan was to completely avoid the tag, he just plays forward for that game.
Yeah, agree. Yeah, Port have got had a rough run in the forward line with injuries. Owen Marley ranked these promos for a trade-in option this week. Oh wow, okay, rank them 1 to 5. So 1 being best, 5 being terrible. Got to
All
pick
right.
one. Okay.
My number one out of that list. So number one being top trade-in option, Lockie Whitfield.
Yep, I agree. I'd go Whitfield 1.
Number 2, probably Zorko.
Yeah, I'd go Zorko. Number 2.
And then I think I would go Clark, then Sinclair, then Dale.
Yes, I actually agree with all that. Yep.
So 1 Whitfield, 2 Zorko, 3 Clark, 4 Sinclair, 5 Dale. But that's not to say don't trade in Bailey Dale. I actually do like Bailey Dale as a trade-in option.
100%. Yep. Like Dale's
just out of that 5 that you've given us there, that is the order that we would put the priority on.
Yeah. I'd put Dale 5 as well, but that's not to say to not trade him in. I think he's a fantastic option. Got the back line to himself, from what it seems like. So, especially with, I think part of the reason we were a bit scared off by Dale is, one, he didn't play in any of the practice games, didn't he?
Yeah, injured. And preseason injuries turn people from a lot of players, and for good reason a lot of the time. But it's interesting because he's come in and totally torn it apart for the first few games.
And also, I think it's because we probably thought that Joel Freeger was going to be playing along with Dale in that back line, but it turns out he's more of a mid forward, and it just leaves Dale as the main guy down there. So could
Dale be affected? So you've put on the run sheet here, is Joel Freeger the real deal? So let's have a quick chat about him now.
Yeah.
So Bailey Dale's a great trade-in option now, and Bulldogs have a few cattle coming back soon, and Joel Freeger is the beneficiary of the missing cattle currently. When Bont, all those players at the Bulldogs return, could that affect Joel Freeger? And then in turn, could that affect Bailey Dale with Joel Freeger returning to the back line?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I think a good sign is that Adam Treloar, I mean, it's not a good thing that Treloar's had a setback, but maybe that does help Freeger. But yeah, that could obviously affect us. We know how talented of a player Freeger is. Like, he's just looked fantastic so far this season, and I think the midfield forward role, he looks very dynamic. And as we saw that goal against Collingwood, just ice in the veins right there. I'd like to see the I checked it before, but I forgot. I'd like to see those Dogs CBAs from last round. So I'm just quickly going to bring that up. So Freeger had 33% CBA. So with Matt Kennedy 58%, Tim English 75%, Ed Richards 92%, Tom Liberatore 79%. Obviously, Bont comes into play there. Do you wonder if Bont is more of a Matt Kennedy type and Matt Kennedy moves more to the forward line?
Yeah, potentially. I mean, I really like what Matt Kennedy has brought to the Dogs over the first few weeks, and it wouldn't surprise me if it's Kennedy, Richards, and Bont and Liberatore as the main four in the midfield once Bont has returned. But I mean, they do play very similar roles, and with Kennedy's ability to play forward, we might see less of Bont forward, or other way around, maybe more of Bont forward, and with Kennedy in the midfield. We won't know until Bont is fit and playing, but in that practice match that he did play, that first quarter of, or around about that first quarter, he was forward for a lot of that time.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Yeah, and I think one thing that we need to bring up as well is I'm pretty sure this was the case in the first round as well. His slow starts, where he would be on a low score at halftime and then just shoot home. I'm not sure if that was the case in round one. I thought I heard that it was. You obviously check players a lot less when you don't have them, but I know Fraser is. I can't tell whether it's Fraser or Fraser. I'm pretty sure it's Fraser, but
it's Fraser.
Fraser.
Fraser. Yeah. So his average score in the first three quarters over the first two rounds is 57, and his average fourth quarter score is 47. So he comes
Does that
home.
concern you?
He comes home like a freight train, but he starts really, really slowly. And I don't know if it's sustainable. I don't know if the scoring is sustainable, but they clearly like the ball in his hands.
Yeah, they look for him to get the ball. So he's a very interesting option. Do you prefer him over Sam De Koning now?
Purely because I don't like the comments from Chris Scott around Reece Stanley. Yes, yep. I prefer Joel Fraser. Yeah, so Chris Scott said that he envisions Reece Stanley playing a lot of AFL footy this year. Jake Kolodjasny is due back soon. So again, that even brings Connor O'Sullivan into the discussion, with Sam De Koning potentially going back, Jake Kolodjasny coming back in, Reece Stanley coming into the ruck. We know that Chris Scott is a creature of habit and knows what his best 23 looks like. Connor O'Sullivan might not be in those plans long term just yet.
Yeah, I agree, and that's the concern with the O'Sullivan pick. And I actually didn't put it in the run sheet, but it's an interesting talking point. I think it's more the fact that we know that we've got a couple of defensive rookies coming our way. I know people definitely look to get in Riley Bice next week. You got Travalia rumoured to make his debut. You've got Sardell Hawley making his debut tonight. We know how hot we were on those two guys.
And Riley Bice is on the bubble next week.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. So this is probably a guy you can probably afford to skip now. I think more the fact is that we were concerned with O'Sullivan because we were looking at O'Sullivan because of the lack of defensive rookie options. But now we've got potentially 3 coming our way, and
potentially 4, potentially 5. Who
knows?
Exactly.
Exactly.
We haven't seen teams this week yet because obviously they get released tonight.
Yeah, exactly. So, I think heading into the week, it was like, yeah, that's fine. We can look to get him in. But now with some of these options popping up, probably a guy you can look to skip. And yeah, I think that job security is just a wee bit dodgy for me.
Some more questions that we need to get to.
Yes. Causer, if Briggs was playing, I would have gone Cherry, but Holding gone. We love your work, Causer. We might need some more context.
I know what he's meant. So he went for Max Gawn because Cherry missed, because Briggs missed round 1.
So he was going to go. He targeted
the Lockie Keefe matchup in round 1.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cherry doesn't look like he's slowing down whatsoever in the prime of his career.
Might be my
Julian.
best starting pick so far, Tristan Sherry.
Yeah, fair enough. Can't wait to fade him again. Nank to Cherry worth a boost.
What
No,
has Nank scored over the first 2 weeks?
I don't think so.
He scored a 114 and a 67.
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either.
A boost? No.
Is he worth a boost? No.
He's got Rowan Marshall this week, and I'm pretty sure Marshall can be a good matchup for opposition ruckman. So, yeah. I probably wouldn't, Julian, but that's all right. Owen Marley here. Thoughts on Lloyd Meg currently moving on to Cherry. Got a nice run coming up, but the bye, I think the points will get away with Cherry.
I like Lloyd Meek, but if you don't have Cherry, you probably do need him. But like we've said no to moving Nank to Cherry, I'm probably going to say no to moving Meek to Cherry.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that. I think Meek will come down at a decent price for anyone to consider. My goddamn voice. Corey, it's so annoying. Can't afford Jordan Clark for Perryman this week. Looking at Dale, Holmes, or Naz, who would be the best? I guess we can rank these. So I would put Dale 1.
Yeah, out of those guys, I liked the way that Max Holmes worked through the tag last week, which left him on a respectable score for a premium defender. But so out of those guys, I'm probably 1 Dale, and then you could really throw a blanket over Holmes or Naz as number 2. I think Dale's the one out of those 3 that you need to go with.
Yeah, I think Holmes's running power really helps him because he's probably the guy that's going to get the most attention out of that Cats team. So I think he can run away with the tag. So I think this is fine. Yeah, stiff that you can't afford Clark. I'd go Dale, probably in that order: Dale, Holmes, then Nas for me.
Yeah.
MC Beamy, thoughts on Sam Darcy as a pod? I love him to death.
I love the idea of Sam Darcy as a premium forward option that we can eventually consider, but I don't think he's someone we need to run to trade in straight away. I think he is someone that we could eventually bring in later, because as a key forward, I know he is dominating games at the moment, but there will be a game where someone works out how to shut him down, and his price will get down to an achievable level again.
Are you sure they'll figure out someone to stop him? How are they going to reach him?
I say that very hopefully. But I don't think we need to flock to trade him in right now.
Yep, agree. Jasp Nello. Should I be moving on from Gorn? Started 3 primo rucks, and it's the only way to get Nod and Lindsay plus Whitfield. Yeah, this was the concern with starting 3 primo rucks. Well, I think Nod and Lindsay are essential for our sides for cash gen. If it's your only way, I think you have to do it. If it's your only way to get O'Driscoll and Lindsay, and I
like this. I think this is okay. I don't usually tell people to trade premiums, but in this case, you're basically splitting a premium to get another premium who can score just as well, plus 2 vital cash generating rookies. So I am okay with this one.
Yep. Yeah, agree. Owen Marley.
He
Followed
asked the
up.
same question to the swordplay potty
Oh,
and got a virtually flipped answer with Dale 1
God,
and
we're
Clark
frauds.
2.
We're frauds.
Look,
Oh,
I'm
God.
gonna be honest. There wasn't a wrong answer. There wasn't a
No.
wrong answer. It was
Yeah.
just preference. And I would suggest that the swordplay potty, without listening to it, I need to go and do that because I don't usually miss their pods, but I have this time. They probably looked at value more than anything else.
Yeah. We were talking about who we reckon is like just who we think will be the best scorers.
Mm.
But
Yeah, so it depends on what their basis for the ranking was, because obviously I haven't heard that yet. I don't know if you have, Steve-O, but like there's no wrong answer. And you say you're getting Zorko now, and I think that's great. I think that's probably the best option. You know, that you've gone the happy medium out of the two rankings. He'd love to hear the Whitfield pitch from us.
okay.
No early buy, so that's out of the way.
Yep.
He started the season with a 111 and a 128, so he's not going to lose cash anytime soon. In fact, his break even is 97, so you'd assume he'd at least reach that. So, and there's a good chance that he will be one of the top averaging defenders by the end of the season. So you're trading in a guy that is almost definitely going to be top 6. You're trading in a guy that doesn't have a buy again until round 15 or round 16. He like there's virtually nothing in his way for this scoring to not for his scoring to not continue.
And Adam Kingsley doesn't shut up about the fact that he's the best halfback in the competition. We feed the ball through him on the half-back line. He's just unreal to watch. And, I just think he's the best option. And I do think he has a real shot at being the best defender premium this year.
Yep.
Especially with Sheasel's minor adjusted role from what it seems like, where Sheasel will still be fine, but Whitfield, the gap gets closer between Sheasel and Whitfield now, I believe. So, yeah, that's Damo explained it a lot better than me, but yeah, I think Whitfield's a fantastic option. MCB Koss is a trap. IMO.
Yeah, we've already talked about it. So yeah, I don't know if trap is the right word, but I don't think he's a must-have rookie.
But
I think trap's the wrong word, but I don't think he is a must-have rookie.
No,
I do agree with that. I think his job security is a little more in question today than it was yesterday. Than it was yesterday.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we had on the run sheet must-have rookies, so we might as well talk about that for a little bit.
Yep.
Who, in your opinion, are the must-have rookies? You're buggered if you don't have them.
Nathan O'Driscoll is probably at the top of the list there. Levi Ashcroft, Xavier Lindsay, Mitch Nevitt, Sam Davidson. Even though he didn't have a great round 1, I would put him as a must-have in the forward line. I would probably class Jack Henderson potentially as a must-have.
Oh wow. Okay.
Just because at 99k averaging 63, he's gonna boom in price.
Yep.
You'll need Riley Bice when he returns.
Yep.
I think those are the main guys, to be honest.
Yeah, I'd agree. Yeah, maybe I think Jack Henderson's the only one I don't fully agree, but everyone else for sure. How come? What do you view out of Henderson besides the price? Do you see just this scoring staying up?
Yeah, I think that it's just his, and I know it's VFL pedigree and it doesn't always translate, but he was one of the top averaging VFL players coming into this season. So I don't see that Nouse just completely disappearing.
Yeah.
And bottom dollar rookie, even if he's the first guy you move on at 99K, he's going to make the most money compared. Like Xavier Lindsay is scoring similarly to him, and will make money not as quickly because of his higher price. Whereas Jack Henderson can average 63 as he currently is now and probably make just as much money, if not more, than Lindsay or Ashcroft or Sam Davidson making this, averaging the same amount.
Yeah. How are you viewing his role? I'm seeing him as like a winger, half forward type, which is a good sign. Is that how you're viewing it?
Yeah, I think he well, they talked about him potentially having forward eligibility by round 6, which is going to help
Shit.
a lot of people out. So um I think his role is like wing half forward, and we know that Cozzy Pickett's coming back in soon, but
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to affect Henderson's role. And they wouldn't have snuck in underneath West Coast to sign him if they thought that he was only a fringe sort of player.
Yeah, because he was meant to be at West Coast, and then Melbourne decided, hang on, we'll bring you home and we'll sign you up instead. And he was
Yep.
okay. Yeah, we'll do it.
Yep. Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a good story with him. Yeah, something to think about. For me personally, I'm running out of room with these midfielders, but we'll find a way. Hey lads, reckon Henderson is a. Hey lads, reckon.
There we go. We just answered it.
But hey lads,
considering
reckon
bringing in
Henderson.
Callahan instead of Henderson, if you can afford Callahan, I think I'm okay with you missing out on Henderson.
I think it depends on your mid structure. If you've gone 4 deep, I think you can add 5. I wouldn't go any deeper than 5. Personally, Damo. I don't know about you.
Yeah,
Because you're benching
yeah,
one of like Nevitt and Lindsay and whatever, and you want to fit some of these best rookies on field.
yep.
Rookie coach. Hey, we started. Let's go. Thanks for jumping on, mate. Okay, but is this viable? Pez, Stew, and JHF to Baz, Dale, and Sinclair. Ooh, if you've got all the right rookies.
2 guys that we just said to hold.
Okay.
Because he's talking about Stewart and Horn Francis. If
you've got the right rookies, I'd prioritize that first. If you don't, Pez, you trade out.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a bit could pay off 100%. Like these 3 are bringing in a much better option.
It's an out there move. It's definitely an out there move, but he wouldn't be alone in thinking about this move though.
You don't need to act on Baz this week.
Why not?
Well, the price isn't changing just yet. But
for everyone else, it is.
Yeah. Oh yeah, good point. It's a bit too sidewaysy for me, but if you've got the right rookies, I don't know. It's not my cup of tea, but I know
it feels a bit sideways. I do like the moving on of Harry Perryman though. I think he is a definite cannon into the sun. That one, but I'm not sure if Stewart and JHF are players that I would move on. I think they are players you just got to cop and hold and hope they return to what you expected.
Yeah. Up to you, rookie coach. You're a smart lad. You're a smart lad. H-Man, am I crazy getting Noah Anderson, maybe some EK VC2 in a week early by upgrading day. Also, Finn O'Sullivan and Hasty to Lindsay and Hendo. 323k in the bank for Baz next week, potentially.
I like it, but
yeah, I do too.
Can we talk about Will Day for a second?
Yeah, we didn't have him on the run sheet. I think he is a trade.
Everyone had him after round 0 because of that 148. He has not backed up that score since.
Yeah. And
do people need to be honest with themselves who didn't have him in the preseason and jumped on after round 0 that maybe this was a point chase situation? Or did they really think that role that he had in the Sydney game was sustainable?
Well, one thing I didn't think about enough with the Will Day pick. I didn't end up starting Will Day, but one thing I underestimated was his ability to go through tags.
He's
just going to get attention every week.
I'm just going to interrupt. In that Sydney game, we saw him spend time forward and hit the scoreboard.
Yeah.
Do you think James Worpel being out has stopped that string in his bow? Do you think that he's now no longer doing that, which is removing a scoring aspect that brought up his scoring so much in round 1?
Well, he's still been forward like just a little bit, but it's also been Newcomb that's been forward a bit. I think McKenzie and Ward being in there a fair bit helps. Yeah, so I think that's probably affected it. Hawthorn are very content with their 4 midfield structure of Worpel, Day, Newcomb, and Nash. Yeah, so that's probably affected it, and it's probably meant that guys, it's just probably meant he's had to play midfield a lot more. So, yeah, that's fairly valid. I don't think Worpel's back till the Cats game, I believe, which is in round 6. Yeah,
interesting. Anyway, back to this question here.
I would do Day to Anderson.
Mm-hmm. And Foss and Hasty to Lindsay and Hendo. Well. I would do that as well. 323k in the bank. You're laughing, mate.
That's a lot of money in the bank, but get Baz next week and you're laughing. I have no problems with these trades. I think Anderson's a very sneaky pod. Agreed. Thanks, legends. That's due to the Gorn 3 primo ruck discussion there.
Awesome. Thanks, mate.
I'm prioritizing Whitfield over Day. Is that okay? Yep, 100%. Yep. Hey mate, do I go A, Foster Henderson, Day to Chera, Garcia to Rankin, or B, Foster Henderson, Day to Rosie, Perryman to Dale? Means I'm stuck with Perryman. B means I need
A means I'm stuck with Perryman. B means I need a bridge like Graham for Rankin. Oh,
that's a tough one.
To be honest, I think moving Perryman is probably more important.
Do you have to do it this week though? Like, you don't have to do it.
Well, yeah, with Collingwood on a bye, you don't have to do it this week. My gut says A and then do Perryman next week.
Yes, I really like A. I also really like B as well. I think Chera's a good option. And you're getting Rankin. That's sexy. And then he follows up. Could go Perryman to Stewart. Wouldn't get in Stewart.
Don't do that yet.
Don't get in Stewart. In Stewart.
But Perryman to Stewart could definitely work in maybe next week or the week after.
Yep, agree. Yeah, I'd probably go with A, but I think both are fine options. Perryman to Stewart in like 2 weeks. That's holding Perryman for too long. That's the only thing, mate.
No, I think that's fine.
You think it's fine?
Because he's not playing this. He's not playing this week, so he doesn't lose cash this week. Stewart is, and then he can assess later if he's got enough to move Perryman to Stewart either next week or hold for the week after. Let's have a look at Perryman quickly now. I'm just going to have a quick look and do some calculations. So let's say Perryman spurts out another 57 against against
Who are they playing?
Against Carlton when they return.
Oh, big game.
He gets down to 380k. 387k.
Oh, it's not horrendous. That's a 30k drop though.
And then 20K. Stewart, what do we reckon Stewart scores over the next 2 weeks?
I reckon he averages. So who's he got? He's got Brisbane this week.
Let's assume he's playing against Brisbane and scores.
So he's got Brisbane and Melbourne. Let's say averages 100.
100?
Yep.
All right. So so he gets down to 414k. So you would need to find 35k to go from Perryman to Stewart.
Okay.
It's not too bad.
It's not. It is not. It's all right, isn't it? Interesting. Give that some thinking music, are ya? Rookie coach. All rookies. We'll miss Henderson. Otherwise, it's Pez Stewart if he doesn't play, and Foster, Dale, Holmes, and Hendo.
I like that better. I like that way better.
I do as well. Yep. I don't see any dramas with that, mate. Jay, Callahan would make 6 deep in the midfield. Oh, so this is back. Oh, g'day. This is back to the Callahan or Henderson. Yeah, Callahan would make it 6 deep. Would only be fielding 3 of Nod, Ashcroft, Lindsay, and Nevitt. Playing to trade out.
Because I'm assuming one of those would be in his flex.
Yeah. So he'll just be benching one of them, which isn't the end of the world. Playing to trade out Will Ashcroft if he isn't looking good for forward DPP. Is he on track for forward DPP?
Who's this?
Will Ashcroft.
Yes, he is.
Is he actually? Okay.
I think Will and Levi are both on track for forward.
That's very interesting.
But I'm not sure. I would need to double check that.
Yeah. Because I heard Chad Warner's on track.
I think, Chad Warner, Nick Martin is on track, but he's already a defender, so he would only
might be more of a chance he becomes a midfielder, midfielder.
Yeah. I would personally hope that Nick Martin gets def forward. That would be awesome.
That would be beautiful.
That would be great.
Yep. Okay, I think no problem, Aya. No dramas.
All right.
Is there anything we've missed on the run sheet?
So
it might be Foss versus
Finn O'Sullivan versus Sardis. Do you hold Foss because Sardis is out, or do you hold Sardis? I'm in the camp of holding Sardis. I think Sardis has a better scoring base than Foss, and only going to miss one actual game week, and it's all during best 18. And let's be honest, neither of them would be on field, and you may not even have the E on them anyway. So what they score doesn't actually matter in the long run.
Yeah. Like, I don't think we're putting either on field at the end of the day, just due to all these options. I'm still on the fence. I'm leaning more towards holding Finn O'Sullivan over Sardis, just because you get those you get those potential 2 price rises by the time Sardis is back. He could put in a spike score, even though he's probably not the type, but you never know. Weirder stuff's happened. Parrish is back in a week, so decent chance Parrish is back when Sardis is coming back. What happens? Because I presume they'll prioritise Parrish over Sardis. Sardis's time on ground is quite the concern in my eyes as well.
It increased against Adelaide, and
It did.
he did injure his hand in the warm up. So maybe he was due to get higher time on ground against Adelaide, but because of the hand, it limited him anyway.
Why would he get low time on ground against Hawthorn?
I don't know about Hawthorn, but his time on ground did improve in the game on the weekend.
Yeah, he looked a lot better.
And he looked a lot better. He was around the ball a lot, but he did injure his hand in that warm up. So I wonder if that affected him getting a bit of extra game time on top of what he already got.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, it's because I guess it's tough to say if Finn O'Sullivan is the type to put in a spike score. He took a couple of kick-ins last game against Melbourne, I believe. Playing that wing role, we knew heading into the draft he wasn't exactly the accumulative type of player. I guess we've had more passing of the eye tests more with Sardis over Finn O'Sullivan during pre-season. It's just whether you think that Sardis comes straight back in. I think that's the key. Do you think he can come straight back in with Parrish not too far away?
I really wouldn't be surprised if Parrish comes back after 1 or 2 games in the VFL.
Yeah, okay. He's not that good.
Been out of the AFL program for quite a long time. And I know he had those few weeks of preseason before he got re-injured, but he really hasn't had much time in the main football program at all. So it wouldn't surprise me if he does spend maybe a week or 2 in the VFL, and Sardis does come back for a few weeks before Parrish returns, and then it's a case of, does Sardis stay in the team once Parrish is available? And I think that would come down to form.
Yeah. Does the eye test pass you with Sardis in general? Because to me, I can sort of see it there.
When he's on the ground, he definitely passes the eye test. It's just he's not on the ground a lot.
Yeah. God, his foot skills are so dodgy.
He wouldn't be the only midfielder with poor foot skills, though.
Yeah, I don't know why Essendon keep trialing or drafting these guys with poor kicking, and then you look at D'Ambrosio, who they gave up, the one guy that could actually kick, and they let him go. Yeah, it's an interesting one. I'm still up in the air about it. You might have changed my mind a bit there, because we knew that Finn O'Sullivan, we weren't keen on him over pre-season. We knew he wasn't the accumulative type. And okay. Some thinking music for some super coaches out there. I think it's time to head into on the hot seat. Have you got someone on the hot seat this week? Or have you already said it?
I just need to see Jason Horne-Francis have a good Thursday night footy.
Yep. Jason Horne-Francis, need him to fire up tonight.
If he can score at least 95, I'll be happy.
Yeah, I just think we need to see. We just need to put him. We just need to see him fire up. For me, it's. I actually haven't figured it out. Give me a sec. It's going to be Simon Goodwin on the hot seat. How about putting Christian Petrarca in the midfield? Have you thought about that?
Makes too much sense.
Yeah. Have you thought about putting him in the midfield? He was not to be sided in that North Melbourne game.
He'll never do it because it makes too much sense.
Yeah. Why isn't he in the midfield when the game was on the line? I doesn't understand. The ball's not going down there. North is smashing you in the midfield. Like, what is going on? Just put him in the midfield. He looked fantastic against GWS in round 1, 98 with a tag. Just put him in the midfield, man. So Simon Goodwin is on the hot seat this week, and also for those very average comments on Max Scorn as well. He deserves an absolute spray for that. Not something to put up in the footy world without asking Big Maxi. Yeah, so yeah.
Rookie coach? No. I mean, I'm not Steve, but I don't believe coaches have common sense. I'm a fucking Freo supporter. Do you think I think coaches have common sense? No.
No, I'm just frustrated, man. I chose Petrarca over Dawson, and they're not putting this dickhead in the midfield after he looked really good round 1.
Can I put Justin Longmuir in the hot seat?
You're more than welcome to. It's very valid.
Those final few minutes against Sydney, all the players were pushing up the ground when they should have been moving down the ground to stop the ball traveling, and none of them were playing the same game plan. Like Frederick was corralling the player, and then the ball was moving down the ground, and all the Dockers players were moving this way, and the ball was moving this way, and so when the ball went down the other end, it was a Marty v Cox, and there was no one around them. It's like, how is that? It's like, ice the game, guys.
Yeah, Riley Boyce just cutting sick with that goal. Yeah, sorry to bring that up.
Fuck.
Is there going to be is Western Australia going to blow up if Freo lose this week?
I might
in the
blow
derby.
Up. You might not see me next week if West Coast win. I might blow up. I might burn my backdrop. I might burn my house down. I might burn my car. I might perform some Japanese suicide ritual.
Yeah, I might not be a hero either, the way this bloody throat's going, but that's all right. We're hiring for 2 new co-hosts for Throwdown Thursdays. Anything else we need to touch on, Damo? I don't think so.
Let's get into captain, vice captain.
Oh, yes. Great call. I've got a bit of a dilemma once again. So I captained Rosie last week, got a 130. I viewed him as my best option. So I see 3 really good options in my eyes. Tom De Koning Friday night, Jack Macrae Saturday twilight, and Andy Brayshaw Sunday twilight. So Macrae's 1,000% in it. It's just whether I VC Tom De Koning or C Brayshaw.
So my VC and C, very simple. My VC is Jack Macrae, and my C is Tristan Sherry.
Who is your vice captain?
Jack Macrae.
Yep. Okay. Who's North got?
They are against Adelaide, so he's got Riley O'Brien.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. I think Jack Macrae will give us a bit of ease. That's for sure. I think. How do you view Brayshaw going? I feel like it's very safe.
I think he's a good option. I think he is a good option. I don't. You know how we talk about players getting the tag and all that. I think most people these days are tagging Sarong. So I think Brayshaw is actually fairly safe from the tag.
Yeah.
And so whether or not Jack Graham plays or not, I think Brayshaw is going to escape the tag and going to be pretty good.
I think he should. I think Brayshaw should be able to do 115 plus
fairly safely. Yeah.
The only concern is you hate having if Macrae somehow fails, the captain on the last game of the round is always a bit of a shit and pant situation a bit because it determines your whole week.
I don't like captaining the player in the last game of the round.
Me neither.
But I think in this case there is just too many good options on that last day because you've got Jordan Dawson against North, You've
Yep.
got Andy Brayshaw, Caleb Sarong against West Coast, Tristan Sherry against Riley O'Brien. I think there's just a lot of options that you can pick out of those Sunday guys. That
Yep.
means you can vice captain Jack McRae and wait and see.
Yeah, agree. Yeah, you always want to. Well, yeah, we usually like to go with vice captain, our best option. And if you've got a really solid option to fall back on, then you go for it. Yeah, I think Tom DeConning could do well, but yeah, I think I'd prefer.
To be honest, if you VC McRae, you've still got the Brisbane game, the Hawthorn game, the Brisbane Geelong game, the Hawthorn Giants game, the Adelaide North game, and the West Coast Freo game that you can pick someone from, and there are tons of options in those 4 games.
Yeah,
so.
great.
So I think vice captaining Jack McRae, especially when the first 3 games to start the round, Essendon Port, Carlton Bulldogs, and Melbourne Gold Coast, don't have a clear-cut captaincy option in them.
No, but yeah, I think towards the end of the round, there's some fantastic options. I think the later you leave the vice captain is probably the better. Just due to if you got a loophole of Roberts,
you got a
whatever.
Yeah, you got a loophole of any Sydney or Collingwood player.
Yeah, exactly. Or Matty Flynn.
He might be playing. We don't know who won the ruck competition this week.
I will jump with so much joy if he gets picked. Like I will spunk everywhere. It'll be. Sorry, I shouldn't say that.
Jesus.
No, he won't play. That's fine. I think we'll probably wrap this up very shortly. Damo, Chris got on.
Bailey Smith.
Both will be on the plane to. Oh yes. Let's go. I'm very happy about that.
Very, very good. All right. I think we wrap this up. I think we've covered everything that we need to. Everyone in the chat, thanks for getting involved.
Thank you.
Steve, I hope you get better for next week, and hopefully we are not both exploded or dead or something because of the footy results on the weekend.
Hope so too, mate. Best of luck for your Dockers this week in the big Derby 60.
My sanity relies on that result, I think.
Yeah, I'm always here for emotional support if you ever need someone to talk to.
Might need more than just emotional support, but yeah, thanks.
Yeah. We'll discuss that in the DMs.
All right. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you next Thursday.
See you next Thursday. Bye.